Hello everyone, and welcome to your walkthrough of worksheets 1D for the college trig class. This is Mr. Griesel, and today what we're going to be doing for week 2 is just worksheet 1D, which is the last of the new stuff for unit 1, and then worksheet 1E, which is the review for this chapter. So that's all we have for this week. Hopefully you did the quiz already on Monday the 24th. But that is all we have for this week, was the quiz, this worksheet, and then also the review. Once again, my answer keys are online and everything's worked out as always. So if you get stuck or whatever, look there first, okay? This chapter, or this worksheet today, is going to be over two special types of right triangles. One is a 30, 60, 90 triangle, meaning those are the angles. And the other one is the 45, 45, 90 triangle. So first of all, let's talk about the 30, 60, 90 triangle. With the 30, 60, 90 triangle, we always start with the shortest leg. And on my picture here, I called it A. From there, that kind of gets you to both sides really easily. So we always want to find that side as quick as we can. Okay, so to go from the shortest leg, in this case I called it A, to the hypotenuse, we just double it. So if, let's say A is 5, you double that, you get 10 for the hypotenuse. So going that direction, which I have a red line for, you just do A times 2 equals 2A. Now to go backwards, let's say they give you the hypotenuse first. Let's say it's like 14. We just cut that in half, and that will give us the length of our shortest leg. So that's the blue line. So it's whatever our hypotenuse is divided by 2. Okay, now to go from that shortest leg to the longer leg, what you need to do is just multiply times the square root of 3. So in this case, A gets multiplied times the square root of 3, and it's just A root 3, and that's done. To go backwards, let's say they gave you the longer leg first, you would divide by the square root of 3 to get the shorter leg. Now, dividing by roots of numbers can get a bit tricky sometimes, so we'll talk about those as we get to them. All right, so that's the 30, 60, 90 triangle. Let's talk about the 45, 45, 90 triangle. Two of those sides are going to be the same because it's an isosceles triangle, so that's why I called one side A and the other side is A, because they're always going to be the same thing. Now the only trick here is you have to figure out how to get to the hypotenuse, and then from the hypotenuse to the legs. So if you have A, what you're going to do is you're going to multiply it times the square root of 2, which I have on the blue line. If they give you the hypotenuse first, you're going to divide by the square root of 2 to get to either one of those sides. And then once you have one of those sides, you know both the sides, and it's all done. So that is a brief explanation on how this works. So copy down those notes on your paper so that you have them, and then everything on the whole worksheet just kind of follows that. So first one, let's talk about number 1. So in number 1, we have a 45, 45, 90 triangle, and what we're going to be doing is using one of the legs to find the rest of it. So what they've given you here is they gave you 2 root 2, and we already know immediately that B is 2 root 2. So one matches the other, so we get 2 root 2 for both of those. Now to find the hypotenuse, we take either one of those and just multiply it times another root 2, and we'll get our answer. So 2 root 2 times root 2, the 2 root 2's cancel each other out or become square root of 4. You square root that and you get a 2. So ultimately it's going to be 2 times 2, which is just a 4, and that is the hypotenuse in this one. All right, let's skip to number 3. So number 3, once again, it's very, very similar to the one we just talked about, but now the leg is kind of an uglier number. One leg is 3 root 2 over 2, so that means the other leg is the exact same thing, so I call y 3 root 2 over 2. And then the hypotenuse for this one, we just multiply it times root 2 again. We end up getting 3 root 4 all divided by 2, which ends up being 3 times 2 over 2, which is 6 divided by 2. Cut that in half and you get a 3. So x equals 3 in this situation. Okay, so the rest of those are 45, 45, 90s. Let's skip all the way down to 7 through 12. These are all going to be 30, 60, 90 triangles. And let's look at specifically number 9. So number 9, they gave us the shorter leg in this 30, 60, 90, which is nice because that's the leg you always want. We double that 8 to find u. So 8 doubled is 16. So that's u. Now to find v, we're going to go back to that 8 and we're going to multiply it times root 3. So 8 times root 3 is just 8 root 3, and that whole thing is done. So pretty easily. Okay, number 10. They gave us the hypotenuse first on this one. So we're not going to find x first because that's the more difficult of the two to find. So we're going to find the shorter leg by dividing that 8 root 5 by 2. We're just going to cut it in half. So if you cut 8 root 5 in half, you get 4 root 5s, and that's cut in half. So now we're going to take that 4 root 5 and we're going to multiply it times root 3 to find the longer leg, like we said. So root 5 times root 3 is root 15. So we have 4 root 15. And that's good to go. Let's look at number 15 now. Number 15, they gave us the hypotenuse once again. So we're going to cut that in half to find our shorter leg. In this case, that's b. So b is just 3 halves or 1 1/2, however you want to write that. And then a, I'm going to take that 3 halves or that 1 1/2 and I'm going to multiply it times root 3. So I like the fraction better, so I called it 3 over 2 times root 3. And you get for a final answer 3 root 3 divided by 2. And that's it. All right, let's talk about number 18. Now, number 18 is the last one I'm going to do. This one, they gave you the hypotenuse on a 45, 45, 90. So m and n are going to be the exact same thing. So you find one, you know the other. And what we're going to do to that 7 is we're going to divide it by the square root of 2. Well, I did that here, but you're not supposed to have a square roots on the bottom of a fraction. You're not meant to ever leave it that way. So to undo that, I'm going to multiply the top and bottoms by root 2. And up top, you're going to get 7 root 2, and that's done. And then root 2 times root 2 is really root 4. Square root of 4 is 2, so we get that. So we say n and m both equal 7 root 2 over 2, and call it a day. Okay, so that is it for worksheet D. The only other thing you have to do this week is 1E, which is the review of A, B, C, and D. Shouldn't be too hard. Like I said, the answer key is online, so feel free to use that at your discretion. I will see you later, and if you've already seen me for week 2, week 3 is going to be your first exam, so make sure you're prepared for that. Talk to you later.